Hello, I'm Jimin from We Learn to Share, and in this video, I'll be summarizing Unit 3 of AP Human Geography. What is culture? Culture can be defined as practices, attitudes, behaviors, and customs shared by a group of people. Oftentimes, culture is socially constructed. This means that it is an idea that is not objective but has come to be accepted by people. There are two main types of cultural traits, which are visible and invisible traits. Visible traits are traits that are visible to us, such as food or clothing. On the other hand, invisible traits would be cultural traits that are not visible, such as holidays. There are also two types of cultures. One is folk culture, which is often rooted from a traditional society, isolated and rural, slow to change, and practiced by homogeneous groups of people. Popular culture, on the other hand, is widespread, mostly urban, uniform in various locations, often spreads through globalization, and practiced by many groups of people. People can have different attitudes towards culture. Ethnocentrism is the belief that one's culture is better than other cultures. However, cultural relativism is when people keep an open mind to other cultures and believe that all cultures are equal but just different. What are cultural landscapes? Cultural landscapes are landscapes that have been influenced or shaped by human involvement. Built environments which are part of cultural landscapes are visible artifacts of cultural traits such as buildings or signs. Sacred places, which are a religious characteristic of a cultural landscape, are holy places to a certain religion. And the idea of sequent occupants is when different cultures interact with each other inside a shared place. Now, I will list some important vocabulary terms relevant to culture patterns. Culture hearth is the area where a unique culture or cultural trait originated from. People can feel a sense of attachment to a certain place, which is known as a sense of place. Additionally, cultures can act as a way to unite people, while sometimes it can divide a group of people. Centripetal forces are forces that unite people. Examples of centripetal forces can be the same religion or language. On the other hand, centrifugal forces divide a group of people. So, how does culture diffuse? Culture can spread through relocation diffusion, wherein culture is diffused by the migration of people. Culture can be also spread through direct or indirect exchanges that do not involve migration, known as expansion diffusion. There are three main types of expansion diffusion. Hierarchical diffusion is the spread of culture from people or places from higher class or rank to other people and places. An example of hierarchical diffusion is when a famous clothing that a celebrity wore is spread to the fans. Stimulus diffusion is the spread of culture by new people adopting the culture through modifications to the original culture. One example of this diffusion is the spread of McDonald's across different countries with different modifications. Lastly, contagious diffusion is the spread of culture from one area at a time through the contact between people. How did culture diffuse historically? Culture diffused when countries were colonized, as one country had direct control over the affairs of a territory or a group of people. Similarly, when countries were imperialized, there were exchanges and diffusions of culture between many countries. Culture was also diffused through the exchange of goods and services across the world. And as people migrated to different locations, culture also spread through the different locations. These days, globalization, which is the increasing interaction and integration between people worldwide, has been the main cause of cultural diffusion. Moreover, culture has also been spreading as people from different backgrounds move to cities, which is the process of urbanization. Now, I will list some important vocabulary terms relevant to the diffusion of language and religion. Language families are a group of languages related through a common ancestral language. Dialects are a regional variation of the same language. Lingua franca is a common language used by people who do not share the native language. The lingua franca in the world today is English, as many people who do not share the native language use English to communicate with one another. The diffusion of languages has also led to the mixture and formation of new languages. Pidgin is a mixture of two languages, which is in the early stage of the mixing process, and Creole is a mixture of two languages that has formed a new language. There are two types of religion, which is ethnic religion and universalizing religion. Ethnic religion is religion that is practiced by a homogeneous group of people in a particular region, while universalizing religion is practiced by people from many different countries and backgrounds. The diffusion of culture can lead to cultural convergence and cultural divergence. Convergence is when different cultures become similar over time. On the other hand, cultural divergence is when one culture becomes different over time due to the different ways people think about this certain culture. What are some other effects of cultural diffusion? Multiculturalism is when multiple cultures coexist and maintain significant elements of their original form. Acculturation is the process of one culture adapting to the dominant culture while maintaining elements of the original form. Assimilation is when one culture completely gives up their identity to be a part of the dominant culture. Finally, syncretism is when aspects of culture come together to form new customs, ideas, and practices. This will be the end of today's video, and I hope this video was helpful.